Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Usman Ali. The video which I'm recording is on the portfolio risk calculation or calculating the risk for a portfolio actually. So the video should be taken as a continuation of the previous video that you have watched. Let me show you a glance of that quickly. This is the video which I'm referring to. In this video we calculated the range of the range of the cash flows that we can generate actually on every single currencies that we have invested, and then we plus them so it gets consolidated. So if there is a factor of range, then obviously there is risk involved, and this video scope is confined to the portfolio risk, but only between two currencies here. At advanced levels you can and you will learn how to calculate the portfolio risk for multiple currencies, more than two currencies actually. I will just focus on the two currencies. The formula that we have is this one. By the way, this this symbol represents standard deviation, means the risk factor, square root, and think of the one of a very famous mathematics formula that we have learned in our school life and college life as well, which is like the a square plus b square plus 2a and b. So it's like that, a square plus b square plus 2ab. This was one of an formula in mathematics that we have learned in our school life. So the same formula is here except this correlation thing. So let me explain what it is actually. W represents the weightage. Weightage means how much of your cash flows are coming from which currency. That would be your weightage. So W, whatever your weightage percentage is, you will take the square of that. And X represents the currency for which we are referring to. Like, look at this. WX is the portion of the total portfolio value that is in currency X. So let's say if my currency X is pounds, okay, let me take currency X as pound. So then the W would represent that how much weightage or the portion of the total portfolio is in pounds. Okay, so look at this. If my WX is considered to be pound, so let's say 40% of my portfolio is related to pounds. Okay, then we have this thing, sigma square, and X again represents the currency which I have assumed as pound. Sigma means standard deviation, like this sigma, but this is the standard deviation of P. P means here portfolio, and here it is the sigma X means the standard deviation of pound only, and we take the square of the answer whatever we have. So let's assume that I have calculated standard deviation of the pound and it is 8%. Assuming that you do know the process of how to calculate variance and standard deviation. So that's my sigma X. Then we have WR square and sigma R square. So R or Y, not sorry, R, it's Y. That represents, let's say, Canadian dollar. So the WY is 60%. I will take the square of the 60%. So whatever the answer is, it can be written here. While the sigma RY square is the standard deviation of the Canadian dollar, 9%. Assuming you know how to calculate that also. Then we have plus 2 multiplied by WX. WX is again the amount of weightage that we have in pounds, multiplied by WY, which is the weightage of the currency Y, that's Canadian dollar in my example, the standard deviation of pounds, which is X, and the standard deviation of Canadian dollar, and then the correlation between dollar and pounds, means Canadian dollar and pounds. Again, I assume that how you calculate the correlation. You have gone through the statistics subjects, you do understand what a correlation is. So this is the formula. Let's do it, and that's the data which I just explained. So the one thing it left is assume that correlation between X and Y, which is pound and Canadian dollar, is 0.71. That's the formula which is written in here in the blue color. So I have written it here. So instead of the sigma symbol, I have used SD, which is standard deviation, as you can see here. Remaining everything is same. So let's put the values here. What is the weightage of WX? The weightage of WX, or the value, is 40%. You can see 40% can also be written as 0.40. So that's the 40%. So what I've done, I've directly written here the value here, 0.40, and then the square of it. Okay. After that, in the formula, we have standard deviation of currency X and then the square of it. So what is the standard deviation of currency X? That's 8%. So it would become 0.08 and the square of this. Then in the formula, it's plus. So I have also written plus. After that, we have the weightage of currency Y and then the square of it. So what is the weightage of currency Y? 60%. That became 0.60 and then square. Multiply by the standard deviation of the currency Y. So the standard deviation of the currency Y is 9%. I have written here 9, and then the square. Then we have plus, so plus here as well, and then 2 multiplied by WX and standard deviation X. So 2 multiplied by, this is the weightage of the currency X, 40%, multiplied by the standard deviation of currency X, 8%. Okay. Likewise, we have the weightage of currency Y, Canadian dollar, 60%, and the standard deviation of currency Y, 9%. Multiply by the correlation between these two currencies, which is 0.71 given to us in the data. So that's the only thing you need to know, putting the values, and you need to remember the formula. Okay, and to remember the formula, an easy technique would be 2a square plus b square is equal to 2ab. So look at this, a square plus b square plus 2. This is a and this is b. The extra thing is multiply by correlation. You do know how to take the square. If I take the square of 0.40, it becomes 0.16. The square of 0.08 will become 0.0064. Then we get the square of 0.60 is 0.36, and likewise you can do the remaining portion. Simplification is very easy. You can just multiply and then at the end you can plus it. So we get a square root of 0.0063936. If I take the square root, I get a value of 0.07996, which, if I need the answer in percentage, I must multiply that with 100. So my risk factor would be 7.99%, which is almost 8%. Now this 8% risk is not related to an individual currency. Okay, it is related to both of them combined because I'm referring to portfolio. That's how you can calculate the risk factor actually. So going back to the material of the previous video, I said that we need to know how much will be my dollars, US dollars, that will be generated in every currency. Then I realized that relying on one figure is not a realistic approach. So what I did was that I modified that and I developed a range of value, and then I got a range of expected cash flow on every currency also. But then when I saw that some of the currencies has a wider range and some of them has a smaller range, so it means some currencies are more risky and some currencies are less risky. So what I did was that in order to calculate the collective risk of them, I calculated portfolio risk, which was calculated using this formula. Keep that in mind. I just calculated portfolio risk for 2 currencies only. This was the procedure of calculating the portfolio risk, and we just came to know that the risk between the Canadian dollar and the British pound is almost 8%. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe.